Welcome to a new edition of After the Whistle, a new episode, I should say. Last day of the month, March 31st, 2021. There's a lot that's been happening in the sports world and inland sports. As you know, if y'all didn't know already, y'all probably saw it, what have you. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But March Madness is here. Todd's here.
Like always.
Yeah, there's a... Woo! Yo, Michigan last night, man. What a game. What a game if you like defense and people missing layups and big man that can't give you a simple hook shot to just get a basket. Man, this was... Michigan shot themselves in the foot. Pretty much. And pretty much Juzang, that's how you pronounce his name, right? Mm-hmm. The Kentucky transfer.
Johnny Juzang.
He pretty much... He put the team on his back.
Yeah, he's been doing that through their whole UCLA run. I don't know why I say USC. But let me give you guys a correction. Last week, I think Michigan State. That was false. I picked UCLA the whole time, and I had them losing to Alabama, so I was a little aggravated at myself. Because I should have just had them beating Michigan instead of having Michigan win it. But, man, Johnny Juzang, he definitely showed why Kentucky needed him. Because he's definitely a bucket getter and they could have used him this season. And I'm happy for UCLA.
Could they?
Yeah, I'm definitely happy for UCLA. On Michigan's end, the score was like a high school basketball game, to be honest with you. So yeah, I thought they had more in the tank than that. I didn't really realize they relied so much on their bigs when they have other guys that can do way more. But that's the game plan. You got 7-footers, you got to utilize them. So
and those 7-footers could a simple. I don't know how many shots at the rim Dickinson missed down the stretch, but I counted at least 4 or 5 where they gave him the ball, do something, and he was struggling. And the guys that were covering him, he had at least 3 or 4 inches on him, and he hook shot. He was just missing it, point blank shots at the rim that big guys like that should make it. I was just like, this is some terrible execution on Michigan's end.
Yeah, I also didn't like how, because he's 7 foot, they was allowing the floppage to happen.
Oh, yeah.
That's one thing I don't like. Because the man's 7 feet and he's strong, don't bail out defender because they can't handle that, man. They put the big, bigs always get in foul trouble in the tournament just because it's things like that.
We'll talk about bailing out people later on. But, definitely that too. And then Wagner, okay, here's my thing.
He was bugging.
Here's my thing with the last play. First, I had an issue with when he shot that air ball. They were like, what are you doing shooting? You're down 1. Do a mid-range or something. Don't force a 3. Granted, you were open, but you were like 0 for 6 from 3 the whole game. And then the last play, I think Brooks, is that his name? Brooks.
I fell asleep towards the end of the game.
Oh, yeah. Brooks, I feel like he's their best shooter.
Yeah.
And they didn't draw the play up for him, the last shot for him. It drew it up for the guy who just shot the air ball. So I was a little bit confused with that. And the Michigan down the stretch, they missed their last 8 shots. They were 0 for 8 down the stretch. Like, both teams weren't good down the stretch, but Michigan was 0 for 8, and there was a lot of shots at the rim they missed.
Yeah, man, just ball wasn't falling for him. That's really what it was. Because the last game, the ball was falling for him because Brooks was hitting all type of threes. I don't know why they went away from that. But once again, game plan's a game plan, and it got them this far. So,
Yeah, and Brooks seemed like he's the only Brooks seemed like he was the only one that could just, you give him the ball, he can go and create something for himself. Everybody else, it seems like they have to rely off screen or something like that. But Brooks, it seemed like the ball should have been in his hands down the stretch. And he had I don't know what he was thinking too. He also had a brain fart moment after that air ball. He grabbed it and he just tossed it up, knowing that they had more time.
Yeah, man, I forgot about that little situation. But to speak more on Wagner, he just didn't seem like he had it all game. He just seemed out of it. It just seemed like it just wasn't his night. He was just missing bunnies, turning the ball over in places he usually turn the ball over. When he's like, 6'8", 6'9", so it just wasn't his night, man. It happens in tournament.
Yeah, looking at this stat sheet, 1 for 10 from the field and 0 for 4 from the field. This is like a game that he would like to forget, but you gotta give credit to UCLA. being the first four in and then getting it this far. But people need to stop acting like UCLA is a Cinderella story because they're not.
And they're on a roll. And when I was looking at the teams that all four of the Final Four teams played, they kind of got a break with. We'll get Abilene Christian. Like that was kind of like a tune-up compared to these other teams that have played. So it seems like they might have less wear and tear on them.
Definitely, because their run was probably the easiest because BYU, we both were like, yeah, come on now, and then Abilene and who they beat, Alabama.
Yeah, Abilene, Alabama.
Yeah, the toughest one was Alabama, but it seemed like they just manhandled Alabama. So, congratulations to UCLA for another Final Four appearance in their historic school. They might have a school record or something. I don't know, but they do have the most championships.
Yeah, if you got the most championships, you gotta have. Unless actually no, that's false because you could be like you're one of them coaches that always makes it and never wins it. So
yeah, there's that too. So congratulations to them.
There aren't that many of those, I don't think.
Yeah, first game of the night was Gonzaga and USC, and it was just. Yeah, it was just all Gonzaga from the beginning. It was quick 7-0 to start the game off. They were on a roll, and once they got double-digit lead within like the first 2-3 minutes of the game, and they did not look back after that. They were just over. USC was just overmatched.
Gonzaga's been doing this to everybody all season, let alone the tournament. They're beating people by almost 20 points a game.
Yeah.
Gonzaga's scoring over 80 points a game each game in the tournament. That's tough to go against, especially USC. They were good, but they have so much youth.
Yeah, the Mobley's nice.
Oh yeah, Mobley's nice.
He's probably out of there.
Yeah, Evan's nice. His brother's alright too. But yeah, Gonzaga just has too much firepower for the whole country.
Yeah, definitely, because they got every position filled. They got shooters, they got big men, they got defensive players, they got everything. And to beat them, you have to actually be a disciplined team and a committed team to playing defense, because what they'll do, they'll wear you out. And and then once they get that lead, those threes start falling, and then they start getting on that break and their defensive pressure. I mean, Jalen Suggs and what's this? I can't even pronounce his name. I think that's his name.
Yeah, I don't know. I ain't gonna butcher it.
Yeah. But those two guys, when they start pressuring you and making you not getting into the offensive flow, it's difficult. I think Oklahoma so far was the team that played them the closest in this tournament, but that was only for a half. You got to play a full 40 minutes with these guys.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, so this is their first Final Four appearance since that year they went into the national title game, I believe, in 2017, I believe it was, when they played North Carolina in the national championship.
I don't remember what year it was, but
it wasn't too long ago, but this is their first run. And, will we have the first undefeated team since that Indiana team, the 76, I think it was 76, somewhere in the 70s, that Indiana team that people always talking about. Gotten close a few times with Kentucky, but you just never know. I don't know if they're going to do it, but it's exciting to see. And it's good for that program, too, because,
This is good for TV as well.
Yeah, because this tournament has not been the most exciting tournament that we've seen over the years too, and especially the teams that are going into the Final Four. A lot of people just like make the most of it. So.
Yeah, you see my face. Just like
yeah. So congratulations to Gonzaga. I believe they're playing Michigan. No, I said Michigan.
No,
UCLA.
UCLA.
Yeah, I had them playing Michigan in the Final Four. Thanks a lot, Michigan. Yeah, my bracket's a mess. I don't think I got one final. Yeah. Yeah, let's talk about it. All right, other games. Oh, man, we got two Texas teams in the Final Four, and they'll be going at it, too. First, Baylor, they moved on to the Final Four. And, man, Baylor has, those guys. That's another team.
Yeah, I mean, Baylor's been solid all season. They're known for their guard play. Yeah. And their guard play and bringing it all tournament.
Yeah. And it seems like they, what's his name? Mitchell? Mitchell is...
Off the top of my head, I do not know these guys' names. I follow a couple on IG, but I'm waking up from a nap not too long ago, so my brain's still not...
Yeah, Mitchell, he was he got to foul trouble earlier, but then when he got back in the game, it was like Arkansas didn't know. They had no answers for him. And the thing with Arkansas, they kept falling behind. They kept falling behind double digits in each game. They fell behind double digits in this one too. And with the team that's been number 1, number 2 all year long, you just can't do that. You could do that with those other teams that you obviously you have more athletes than them and get it together. But with a team like this who's just athletic as you and probably got a little more skills, you just can't fall into a double digit lead because there you're crawling up the whole game.
Yeah, I didn't watch this game at all. I didn't, for some reason, I just didn't come across it. Yeah, I definitely second what you said, especially when you see the Final Four, you have 2 number 1 seeds and number 2. It just shows it shows the difference when you see the games and how they finish. I want to say they finish games out and how they bounce back from runs being put on them.
Yeah, definitely. Pause. And you can't win a game having 15 turnovers and going 3 for 11 from the 3-point line. That's just not going to get you anything, and especially when one of your best players has foul trouble most of the games, and then you rely on freshmen. Arkansas, 2 of their best players are freshmen, and they're not even getting into it. They're having a good game, but they're relying on freshmen.
Yeah, I don't know much about Arkansas, to be honest with you.
I didn't know much about them either, but I did pick them to go to the Final Four because they've been nice all year. And only thing I know is like the head coach. His dad was an NBA coach. Okay. Musselman. His dad used to coach in the NBA. Okay. Yeah. So that's all I know. So Baylor, this is their first ever Final Four appearance, I believe. This first ever. Like they said, the last one was 1950s, but that don't count. So I think it was like 8 teams. So this is their first ever Final Four appearance, and kudos to them because they've had some runs, but they just, kudos to that school too because all the stuff that's happened for the last 20 years at that school, especially with the basketball program. If y'all don't know about Baylor history basketball program, especially back in the early 2000s, just Google it and you'll see what happened.
Yes, you will.
All right, and then the last team to cut this game was Monday, was Houston. Houston making it back to the Final Four for the first time since 5 Slamma Jamma. That was before either you and I were born.
Yeah, that was the year before I was born.
Yeah, 3 years before I was born, 1984. And the thing about this game, Oregon State, they got it together in the second half. They had 17 points in the first half, but scored 44 in the second. But they made a game of it, but it was just down the stretch. You could see like some of the inexperience because they were turning the ball over. They were not taking great shots, and it was still a game. The game was up for grabs too. They had opportunities to steal the game, but at the end of the day, Houston just made a lot more plays down the stretch and defensively too.
Yeah, I mean they put Giroux. Right, that's his name, right? Dejan Giroux, the point guard from Houston, the Braves.
Do it look like he played in the 80s too with that Fly Slamma Jam team?
They put him on their best player for Oregon State, and he's their leader as well in their point guard, and he shut him down. And Houston you can just see by the scores of their games that they want to keep the score low, keep it close, and wear you down.
Yeah, and the way they play defense too.
Yeah. They're they're defensive first teams because you see the scores are only scoring 60 points or 60 plus points a game. They haven't scored above 70 in the last 3 games, so they're showing you they want to grind it out compared to other teams that just want to just blow you out the water. Yeah, definitely. And the thing about Houston is the past 2 games is down the stretch when they needed to, they played lockdown defense and they really make it tough for teams to score or to get anything going because. After the last 3 minutes of the game, that's usually it's time to your best players got to go get a bucket. Either you get in the bucket or you get into the free throw line. And Houston didn't allow none of that while they were making plays. So it was just like they've been coached very well. And these guys all play together for it's a very veteran team. So this is the type of stuff you expect from a veteran team. And they should. And I was saying, like I was saying earlier, that's the difference between the number 1s and the number 13 and 12s, like finishing down the stretch to pull the game out. Yeah,
and also for their head coach Calvin Sampson to be going into the Final Four after his little incident that got him that that got him in trouble when he was at Indiana, and for him just to be able to come back and take a team to the Final Four is good because, man, some people thought he might never coach again for what happened at Indiana.
Man, the NCAA is not the MLB. Yeah. Like you have to like commit murder, get murdered in order for you not to get another gig in the NCAA. They're all about second chances, man.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. Oh man, I just lost my train of thought. But so Houston and Baylor will be playing out. This is a nice in-state matchup between the two teams, and this will help recruiting for those guys because you don't really think of Baylor as a basketball school or Houston.
Nah, I mean,
well, Houston, you gotta know.
I'll be honest, it helped recruitment for the state of Texas overall because you have Baylor, Houston, Abilene Christian, Texas, all in-state teams. Going to the tournament, but it definitely helps out the Houstons and the Baylors when it goes to competing against the Longhorns, just because like that's kind of like what the argument you have nowadays is. At least we made it to the Final Four compared to what's Texas done in the past 10 years.
Yeah, definitely. And with Houston, you don't even if they don't want to recruit outside of Houston, they can get a whole bunch of players from Houston.
Well, I remember when Houston was back on the map, kind of like Southern Mission University over there.
SMU.
Yeah, SMU. I wanted to call it the official name, but
Southern Methodist.
Like kind of like them. They kind of got the in-state Texas guys that might have faulted from the original school they were at.
Yeah.
The powerhouse D1s and came here and they made a living at Houston and SMU. So they're going to continue that trend, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And if you think about their run with Five Slammer Jammer, most of those guys were from Houston.
Yeah.
Pretty much that whole majority of that team were from Houston because they got, the city's big enough for you to just not even leave. And
but definitely around that time, there were a lot of in-state guys staying home just because this in-state schools found a way to be more appealing to the kids compared to nowadays that kids are just going everywhere.
Yeah, and I think they embraced a little bit of that diversity, even though it's still Texas and all that. But some schools realize, maybe we should get those. We can get the black players in here. That'll help a lot. All right. On the women's side, first we'll talk about the two games that happened yesterday. Disclaimer: I didn't watch the games last night. Well, I watched one game yesterday, but I caught the tail end of it. But South Carolina and Texas, that was not a matchup. That wasn't much of a matchup for South Carolina. Don Staley's team they just took it to Texas. It was a wrap. I think this is Don Staley's third or fourth straight Final Four appearance. I'll double check on that. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, that game was just not pretty.
And like I said last week, bro, it's either these games are tight or they're straight blowouts. Yeah. And most of these games on paper, they look closer than they really are on film. Yeah,
it really did. But because Texas came in, they had a tough win in the Sweet 16. But South Carolina, they've just been doing this all season. There's some they Georgia Tech 76-65. I think that's the closest game they had.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and then everything else has been a blowout. So this is what you expect from a team that's been ranked in the top 5, top 10 all season long. And the way they look kind of like a powerhouse. You consider, granted, they haven't won as many national titles as UConn and Tennessee, but they're
Well, due to the amount of teams that don't win, you could consider them a powerhouse because at least they make it to the Final Four consistently. So they have a chance to win it every year.
Yeah, and they got a good matchup too with Stanford, who Stanford was down this game, and I was watching the highlights. They were down double digits at one point. Then they made a nice little comeback, and those girls were shooting that ball. They were shooting that ball. I was surprised. I'm not surprised. But I was like, okay, this is. But once again, no surprise at all because Stanford has been a tough team all season long.
Yeah, they're number one. They're number one seed, and they're part of the bracket. And Stanford showed they could put points up on the board. Like, only them and UConn could put up almost 90 points in the game compared to South Carolina and Arizona. So it's going to be tough for South Carolina and Arizona just because you're playing against teams that, yeah, you can score on us, but can you outscore us?
Yeah, and if you just look at it, so the first half, they had 26 total points, and they ended up finishing the game with 78. They were down. They were down 12 at halftime, and look what they did to Louisville in the second half. Third quarter is 12 points. Fourth quarter, 13 points. Like, that is just turning the on and off switch right there. Because Louisville, after the first quarter, couldn't get nothing going.
Yeah, Louisville was also relying, heavily on some underclassmen too. So that inexperience come to play. Because I think Haley only had like 7 points. A couple plays only had 7 points in this down 5. So.
Yeah. And this was also this was the first time Louisville lost a game when they were leading at halftime. I don't believe this. They were like 25-0 after that. But
it's a first for everything.
Yeah, they're definitely a first for everything. One thing I like about this March Madness is how they had the men's game and the women's game at the same time. Because
that's why it's hard to talk about these games because
if you're watching it. You can't focus on one because you're flipping channels and stuff. So I like how they did it before. Like these 2 days, they got the men's game playing, and then these next 2 days, the women's games is on. It made more sense.
And you can't cry about ratings if you do such a thing because the men's NCAA has been around longer. The tournament's just been around longer. It holds more weight. So if you want to create that same weight, you have to give us a chance to watch you.
Yeah, and at this point, it's like people have to choose because some people they're more focused on watching the women's game than the men's game. Some are more focused on watching the men's game than the women's game.
My whole thing is the NBA barely has games on during the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
So why don't they figure out a way so everybody can get the same exposure, or at least the same opportunity to get that exposure?
Yeah, because this was just because I was watching because the games on Monday. I was watching. I was flipping back and forth. And let's talk about the game on Monday. UConn and Baylor, which is the most talked about game in this tournament because of what happened in the final period. But Baylor at one point was up 10. Then one of their best players gets hurt, and UConn ends up going on a 19-0 run. Pretty much, UConn won the game. Baylor had a chance but lost, and people felt a foul should have been called. That wasn't called, and everybody was complaining about it, from LeBron James to the head coach to other people on TV. And I'm just like, here's my thing: we just saw Texas a week ago get screwed by officials on a terrible call. I like the no call. Let the players decide. Let the players make a play because that last possession, Baylor had the chance to get the ball to the. I don't know. I forget who the young lady's name was, but she had position in the post and she was calling for the ball, and they didn't get the ball to her. And you want to rush a shot or force a shot on two defenders? You're not that tall.
Yeah, that's the part I took from it. The shot she took and you faded away from the contact. Yeah, you might have a little contact, but if you'd have went into the contact, they probably would have gave you the foul. That's how I was told. Don't shy away from the contact. That's what most basketball players were told.
And you're going into the trees too. Oh, those two UConn ladies were tall. So once they put their hand up and she was not that tall, just like you can't get bailed out by that. And LeBron goes on Twitter. Everybody goes on Twitter. And I'm just like, LeBron's the same dude that got a non-call happen against him in the NBA Finals. Yeah, they was playing the Thunder, and he fouled Kevin Durant down the stretch, and they didn't call the foul, and it was a clear foul. And people was like, why is he? Even if LeBron says it, I'm like, well, LeBron's been a beneficiary of officials holding the whistle, so it's like.
I don't know. I don't feel like everybody has to jump on Twitter or social media to show your disapproval of a call. Just it's life. That's what makes sports. Human error makes sports.
Yeah, and as far as fans will always complain about, we want the players to decide the game, not the officials. Well, the players had the chance to decide the game, and she was looking for a bailout. That's one of them shots. Because we see it. We just see it all the time. Some players try to get bailed out by the refs, and they don't take the best shot. And they had plenty of time on the clock down the stretch to get a good shot, but they were just not in their offense.
They had a whole game to win it. So that being said, and they were up by double digits, so you can't look at anybody and blame but yourself at the end of the day.
Yeah, and you can't give up a 19-0 run. That's bad too when you're up 10. Like, you can't give up a 19-0 run. Then the head coach goes on post game and says some of the most ridiculous things. One ridiculous thing she said was they shouldn't test players for COVID during the Final Four or something like that.
Did they lose? Who said that?
Baylor's head coach. She said that they shouldn't do it because she said I feel like it won't be right if somebody tests positive and these kids have to like not play the game. But it's just like, mind you, this is the same lady that had COVID during the season.
She didn't see what happened to VCU. That's just how it goes. Like, what do you mean? This is how you keep the tournament afloat. You have to do this testing just so you don't. I don't know.
Right?
That lady's an idiot.
You know, you're trying to get the NCAA has already gotten bad press during the tournament, and for her to suggest they do that, she want them to get even worse press. Like, what? That makes zero sense.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
She shouldn't talk anymore.
All right, but note to this game, Paige Becker, she was named the AP Player of the Year. She became the first player ever, male or woman, to be named that as a freshman. So congratulations to her. Congratulations to UConn, 13 straight Final Four appearance, and Paige was in there. You know, when it was time to get buckets, she got buckets. So,
yeah, it's what separates her from the rest.
Yeah, definitely, and you know, that's just how it goes. Sorry, Baylor, maybe next year, but you know, next time get the ball in the post. Simple as that. All right, and then lastly, Arizona makes the Final Four for the first time in program history. I watched the last minute of this game, and homegirl had 30, I believe it was. I forget her name. But Arizona, this is good for them. First time ever to be in the Final Four. Just, you know, it's been, I don't know when was the last time the men's program been in the Final Four. Like, was it Channing Frye and them?
Salim Stoudemire and them? No, not Salim Stoudemire, the other dude. I forgot his name. Yeah, man, I don't know.
Yeah,
it's been a while.
It's been a while. Yeah, but Ari McDonald, 33 points.
Okay.
They were, and there was a stretch with them in Arizona and Indiana. They were going back and forth, trading buckets, but Arizona just made more plays than them, and Ari McDonald was doing everything she could to get them that victory. Whether it was scoring, assisting, playing defense. The play of the game was a loose ball, and I think one of the players from Arizona tapped the ball, just tapped it to an open teammate down the other end of the court, and that layup pretty much sealed the game. But this was a pretty entertaining game from the highlights I've watched and the last 2 minutes of the game that I watched.
Yeah, from the sound of it sounds exciting because I didn't see any of the highlights, and you just made me want to go watch them. You know, all that, you know, congratulations to Arizona and, you know, their players for making the Final Four, but sorry to say, you're going against that monster known as UConn.
Yeah, and this is tough for a team like Arizona for their first time to be in the tournament. You have to go against the National Player of the Year. You have to go against the most storied program. But this is what the great thing about the women's game is. When there's time for upsets usually happen in the Final Four. So we seen it happen with UConn a couple years ago when they got upset. I think Baylor beat them or Notre Dame beat them off a buzzer beater or something like that. And it was just haywire. So if Arizona want to shock the world again, this is their opportunity to do, and they got the players to do so.
Yeah, but I don't think they're going to score enough points to do so. Their high is 74. This tournament, you know, UConn putting up 92 if they need to. So unless they going to play D like Baylor,
oh my gosh,
that's all.
Well, I was trying to give y'all a little confidence booster, but yeah, it was to burst the bubble over here.
That's no lie.
But the best thing about college basketball is we don't know anything. Crazy things have happened, so we don't know. But for Arizona to get this far, first year to do so. Congratulations to them. I just want to give a shout out to Erin McDonald. 33 buckets on them. She was getting buckets out there. Lefty too. So
that's what's up.
Yeah, that is the college March Madness wrap up. So we're gonna take you guys to a little cool thing we did here. So it was Senior Day Friday at Lynn Classical for the classical boys and girls, and then Monday Lynn English girls had their Senior Day, and we was there. So check this out. This is the Athletes Corner special on Senior Day. So check it out, and we'll come back, talk some NBA and NFL and all that stuff.
And before the game tonight, Lynn Classical High School would like to recognize 3 of our seniors. We'd like to recognize them for their contributions to our school and to our basketball team over the last several years. The first person I'd like to call up to come out to center court is number 22, Antonio Flores Chinchilla. Antonio is accompanied by Coach Marvin Avery and Chris Tarantino. The next player I'd like to call out is number 24, Angel Garcia Figueroa. And he will be accompanied by Coach Marvin Avery. And now I'd like to call out number 1, Jaden Thornton, accompanied by his mom, Lisa, his father, Jawan, and his brother, Cameron. Ladies and gentlemen, would you all please rise?
English senior, Alana Espinosa. Congratulations, Alana. Now I'd like to call out the Lynn Classical seniors. Number 30, Deshauna Rucker, being accompanied by Jackie and Dave. Come on down. And now, the Classical next senior, an awesome kid, I'm gonna miss her. Number 11, Amelia Pedro, being accompanied by Michelle and Peter Pedro.
Take the mask down. Here we go.
And finally, Lynn Classica's last senior, number 3, Taylor Brinkler. He and accompanies the middle field by Kevin and Tim Brinkler. Oh, and Reese. For those in attendance, let's give a round of applause for these meetings. And now, would you all rise for the playing of the national anthem?
I'd like to welcome everyone this afternoon to the ball cap in our field house. At this time, I'd like to recognize seniors from both teams. From Malden High School, number 10, Caitlin Minnie. From Glen English High School, we have a 3-year player. Unfortunately, her 4th year, she was injured last year with a knee injury. She's been in the program for 4 years. Coach Charles, leaving us this year, a senior, number 24, Alana Espinosa. Congratulations to both seniors. Let's have a great day. Thank you.
We are back. Okay, time to talk a little NBA news. So there was some stuff that happened over the last couple days regarding the Nets and the Lakers. First, we'll start with the Nets. They picked up LaMarcus Aldridge. They signed him after him and the Spurs agreed to a buyout, and I don't understand why people were making it seem like the Nets got the Portland Trailblazers LaMarcus Aldridge. Like this is.
It doesn't even matter. Like he has to get the ball first, and there's a lot of guys on that team that can get the ball before him. So when I seen this, I was like, oh, LaMarcus Aldridge signed with the Nets like the rest of the NBA. Okay.
It's like I was just looking at this sign. I'm like, I mean that's good for him, but they really don't need him. And I've just been saying, has anybody watched LaMarcus Aldridge play basketball the past couple of years? It hasn't been pretty.
He was in San Antonio. They weren't getting a lot of press the past couple of years.
No, they were not. They weren't, and they did miss the playoffs last year. So, but they're getting a guy that's averaging 13 points, 4 rebounds, averaging 13 points and 4 rebounds a game. So,
I guess he can add. He's a piece, man. He's a piece.
Yeah, he's just a role player now, but people were crazy that they're thinking that this is the same guy that I was giving you 20 and 10 and stuff. Like, these guys they really don't need him, but they're probably gonna use him for rotation purposes, and they needed some bigs.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people is gonna have their opinions. That's why they call it peanut gallery. Have you ever seen a package of peanuts or a can of peanuts or a bottle? There are a lot of peanuts in there. A lot of peanut squeeze in one bottle.
Yeah.
So you can say that's, society.
Yeah.
A lot of people can squeeze in one room.
Also, another signing, the Lakers added Andre Drummond to their lineup. After him and he was with the Cavs, they got a buyout. There were some teams looking to sign him. Even the Nets were looking to sign him. The Celtics were looking to talk to him, but he chose the Lakers. I mean, I'm not surprised he chose the Lakers. So,
well, I mean, there's only one other place he could go, and that's to Brooklyn. So
I think the Clippers tried to get him too, but
man, ain't nobody trying to go to the Clippers.
Yeah, so,
let's be real. You gotta go to a team. This is, you know what I mean. Yeah. Either gonna be Decepticon, or
Autobot.
Yeah, or Autobot. Like, there's only 2 teams to go to this year.
Yeah. So the Lakers sign. That's a good signing for him because we all know that Anthony Davis doesn't like playing center. Like, he likes being power forward.
Bro, when you were a point guard in your early days, and all of a sudden you wake up and your feet are hanging off the bed, like, you probably ain't too happy with that, but you benefit from it, and it works out in the long run.
Yeah, it's gonna work out.
Now you got a big.
But they just need to be healthy. They just need LeBron to come back. They need AD to get back, and the season is almost coming down to we're almost to the last month of the season. So this was a good pickup for the Lakers. The West is still it's still like a three team race kind of, because Phoenix is still those guys out there. I mean, we both don't believe in Utah, but Phoenix with Chris Paul, it's just that Chris Paul factor is just the difference in here. So we'll see what happens down the stretch. All right, quickly, some NFL news. Okay, the 49ers have made it clear that they're going to draft one of these quarterbacks because they moved up in the draft. They traded with the Miami Dolphins for the number 3 pick. They gave up some future first-round picks. They swapped spots for this year's picks. So at number 3, they're in poised position. They get one of these Justin Fields, Mac Jones, Trey Lance, or even the Wilson guy from Utah. But I feel like they should get Justin Fields because Justin Fields fits perfectly for what they do on offense. But they're talking about Mac Jones, and I'm just like, okay, Mac Jones, but Mac Jones can't move.
Man, I don't know what GMs are thinking in the league, because we always critique and have our opinions, and they pick some ridiculous person that we never even heard of sometimes. So we would think Fields would be the perfect fit for them, but we're not sitting in that boardroom. So
no, we're not. Yeah, we both won't be surprised come after the draft. If they pay probably Mac Jones over him, it'll just be like, and I'll just be sitting here like, good, I hope he falls to the Pats. I hope he falls to the Pats. I hope he falls to the Pats, because that'll be great for the Pats. But Jimmy Garoppolo looked like his time is coming up with San Francisco after this season, because it's either he's going to be benched or he's going to be traded, because if they get the quarterback they want, they're probably going to just throw him in the fire right away, because they do got the defense and they like to run the ball.
Yeah, I don't really know what's going to happen with Jimmy. Him making it to the Super Bowl, barely throwing passes. Yeah. It's like, what team is really going to take a chance on you? You're going to have to, go to a team and, fight for a starting spot based on your lack of production, I think. Yeah. Or lack of showing anything, because the team didn't even allow you to display your talents.
Oh, and lack of being on the field because you always getting hurt. Since you got to San Francisco, you've been injured a lot. Granted, the 1 year you weren't injured, y'all made the Super Bowl, but besides that, you just been hurt. So it's like,
it's gonna be a tricky one for GMs with Jimmy.
Yeah, well, good thing for Jimmy is he got money in the bank. So congratulations to them. All right, let's go to some other NFL news. Okay, so the owners approved the 17-game season. Trying to get some of this money. They're trying to. I don't understand it. Preaching player safeties and adding another game. I don't. As a fan, I don't get why they doing it for the money, but I still don't. 16 games is fine enough. I think current players are happy with 16 games, and it's just the owner's trying to get more money out of it. So it's like,
it's kind of like when you're trying to hold on to something that is valuable, but isn't as valuable as it once was.
Yeah,
that's what the NFL is. You got these other sports that are, I want to say, reinventing themselves.
Yeah.
And making new adjustments and all that to their game. and NFL hasn't really done that. They're trying to, but it's really only to their benefit.
Yeah.
They're not really doing it for the players' benefit. So, you know what I'm saying, man? They're trying to squeeze as much juice out of this as they can, because the well's running dry, man. I said it's like a year or two ago, bro. Like, they don't have as much leg room as these other sports to mess up, because people already can't stand the NFL as it is.
Yeah, I don't get 17 games, but we'll see. I think the Players Association has to vote on it or something like that before it happens. But playing is to have in 2020 this year to have a 17.
I mean, we already heard the players' opinion on them increasing games. They're not trying to hear that, but what do the owners care? The owners don't care about you because you're dispensable. Yeah. Is that the word, right? Disposable?
Disposable. Yeah, disposable. Yeah, they are. Also, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they bringing all 22 starters back. They re-signed Leonard Fournette, so this is the last team that did that. I think it was like 1994. I believe it was the last team to bring all 22 starters back from the Super Bowl. Kudos to them, because sometimes a little change is needed, but not a drastic change. And they got a draft pick. They got draft picks, so it's right back.
You got Tom Brady, man. Everything needs to stay the same.
Yeah, this is Bruce Arians got the Super Bowl tattooed, Super Bowl champ tattoo. Well, I think he lost the bet, so.
Oh.
Yeah, he said it would. Said something like if they win the Super Bowl, he'll get a tattoo.
Well, at least he's not one of them guys predicting to win the Super Bowl and it doesn't happen. Like that guy from Kentucky. Kentucky tattoo or something.
Oh, man. Yeah, what a fool. All right, so the Seattle Seahawks signed Tyler Lockett to a 4-year, $69.2 million deal, $37 million guaranteed. But they still don't know if Russell Wilson's going to be their quarterback. Right now he is, but they still aren't sure because they're still beefing.
Gotta wait and see.
Yeah, it's a wait and see game over there in Seattle. All right, do I have any other thing? All right, also some other NBA news. UConn, well, this is college basketball, but pertaining to the NBA, UConn guard Boat Knight, he's entering the NBA draft. I'm like, all right, good for him. He had a solid season. Granted, he didn't have the best tournament, but
my Boat right nice though.
Yeah, he is. I think we've seen enough sample work to see he could be a pretty good NBA player, and the Clippers are discussing a 10-day contract with DeMarcus Cousins. I mean, it's been a rough couple of years for the Boogie.
Yeah, it has.
It's been a rough one.
Hopefully things figure themselves out, fam.
Yeah, definitely. All right, some Major League Baseball news. This one has a little local tie to it. Former Lynn English High graduate Ben Bowden, he made the roster for the Colorado Rockies. If you don't know, Ben was the 2013 Gatorade Player of the Year in baseball from Massachusetts. Played at Vanderbilt, drafted in 2016, and he made the roster. So congratulations to him, man.
Congratulations with him for sticking with it, man. Yeah. I know it's hard, with the minors, because you have to go so many levels. But definitely congratulations to you sticking with it, man. Hopefully you stick in the league for some time.
Yeah, and he's only 26, so these pitchers be playing to their 45. So.
You already know my people, their cousin's Tom Glavine, so he was an old man on the mound.
Yeah, definitely. All right, Red Sox got their season opener tomorrow. They are playing the Baltimore Orioles. So baseball season starts tomorrow. Tomorrow's an opening day, so that's a big deal. So
that's dope.
All right. NHL, the Bruins defeated the New Jersey Devils 5-4. And, they don't play again. The Bruins don't hit the ice again. I believe it's tomorrow or Friday. Let me just double check that. I don't want to be wrong here, giving people wrong information.
I need to stop finding out where these games are located at.
I need to, same here. I don't be knowing where these games be at, man. I definitely don't be knowing where the games be at.
I'm going to find out.
I'd be like, they played? When? Huh? What channel? All right, the Bruins will be playing the Penguins on April 1st, which is tomorrow. All right, let's do some high school sports. Okay, Lynn English boys and girls, they go undefeated on the season. The GBL tournament, I believe they play tomorrow. They find out who they play, I guess, at some point today.
We play the winner out of Malden and Medford.
Okay, two teams that they've already played before and beat. So,
we played everybody that's going to be in.
Yeah, pretty much. It's just the GBL tournament, so, yeah. All right, Kip Academy suffered their first loss of the season in football, losing 21-20 against West Boylston. This game was scheduled last minute because Kip's game against Tech was canceled because Tech couldn't get the results back for their COVID tests in time. So, so they had to find an appointment. And opponent, they got West Boylston. This was a pretty entertaining game. I was there. It was good.
That's
good.
dope.
The highlights will be on the Instagram page for those people. So at some point, and then Lynn Classical is playing in the GBL tournament as well today. I don't know who they playing, but they're playing. Lynn Classical girls are playing Revere tonight at 6 p.m. And then the biggest news that came out today. Antonio Anderson, he will be moving on. He'll be stepping down as head coach of Lynn English after the GBL tournament is done, and he will be moving on to Springfield Commonwealth Academy. Congratulations to him, because he ain't got nothing else to prove. He's just, they haven't lost a game in the state in 2 years. He's putting numerous kids into college these 4 years that he's been at Lynn English, and the way they develop some of the guys that they've had, it's like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, man. Congrats to Tone for moving up. He's trying to better himself. He's trying to get high in the coaching ranks. He was thinking about telling them when the season started, but waited to tell them at the end just so they could finish through.
Yeah.
And and not check out. So congrats to Lynn English boys. Congrats to him.
Yeah, definitely. He was, it was time, man. It was time. Sometimes you need a new challenge.
Yeah, he came back, gave back. Now it's time to move on.
Yeah, and he'd probably be giving back in a different way too. Now that he's a prep school, and we know how some folks here like to send their kids off to prep school and stuff. So now you gotta.
Yeah, I went prep for a year.
Yeah.
After graduating, though, some kids want to repeat and all that. I did a PG.
Yeah, we ain't gonna talk about that. But now we have a local guy at a prep school
who's willing to give people opportunities too.
Definitely.
If you can produce. If you're not to that caliber, don't be wasting phone calls.
Yeah, because there's a lot of that. Some people think they. Yeah, we won't talk about that. We got highlights. We got some high school basketball highlights. We're gonna give you guys Lynn Classical, Lynn English basketball highlights. The two teams faced off last Friday. So here are the highlights. Check them out. And we are back. Man, the show goes by quick. We did everything. I feel like I'm forgetting something, but whatever. I don't care.
I'm gonna say something. You know, last week I think I said sometimes we're playing lunch aids out there on the court. I'm not insulting anyone's daughter. I'm just saying the product you put out there, that's what it looks like. Because if you're gonna be a high school basketball coach, or high school girls basketball coach, at least try to create basketball players. If not college basketball players, at least high school basketball players. Because if you want this sport to continue to grow, we can't continue to put out the same products that's been put out for years. They complain about the product not elevating if we're not going to help elevate it ourselves.
I just be laughing, man. This dude.
Yeah.
Oh man. Oh yeah. Football. I believe Lynn English and Lynn Classical, they've started their preseason workouts. You know, season will officially start after basketball season is over this weekend. So they're getting ready for their condensed season to play. So, you know, we'll give you footages of that and all that. And yeah, that's about it. That's all we got for y'all. I mean, if anything else that we forgot, we'll probably get it back to you next week, or it's just tough luck. But make sure you follow him, Mr. Burton 23 on Instagram, Mukala K on Instagram, LCTV After the Whistle on Instagram, Lynn Community Television on Facebook, linntv.org. Make sure you check it out. Also, election season's coming up, so go to the website, see the candidates. We got interviews coming up with the mayoral candidates. One is already up, so make sure you check that out and just check out everything that we do on the website. All that good stuff, you know. And yeah, stop picking on these Asian folks that are minding their business, trying to live their life, because your racist self just, you know, wants to be ignorant. So please leave them alone. They ain't doing nothing to y'all, so y'all leave them alone. People, be nice to each other.
Yeah, I don't understand that. You know, stop the Asian hate. Stop the hate towards anyone.
Yeah, just stop the hate, because this is utter madness.
You know, I don't even like the word hate. I feel like that's probably one of the worst words ever created.
Yeah.
So I try to stay away from that. My daughter don't even use that word. So
yeah, definitely. So yeah, stay positive, and we'll see you guys next week. We'll be in April. Time is flying. Have a good one.
Happy Easter, everyone.
Yeah, happy Easter. My brother's coming to town. Help me, Jesus.